I don't want to see my name in the paper next to pictures of dead bodies anymore.
Reporters report, which happens to be the one thing you do really well.
Anderson.
It was me. I killed her.
A situation has developed where a reporter is materially involved in the story he's covering.
I'm locked into this thing.
It's turned into a collaboration.
It's a lot easier to find a victim than it is a listener.
You may be entering Pulitzer territory.
Well, surprise. You were getting bigger than me. If I wanted you or your girlfriend, it'd be so easy be talking to you, Malcolm.
And now, what's wrong?
Hello, I'm Katie, and welcome back to Retromade, your pop culture rewind. Are you guys ready for another trip down memory lane? Well, whether you like it or not, we're going to go back to February of 1985 today to discuss the crime thriller The Mean Season and all of the other happenings of the time. We have not yet covered a 1985 movie, if you don't count North and South, which was a miniseries with Patrick. But, okay. Today, I'm very honored to have Scott Kraushaar with me today. Scott has a lot of super cool shows, including a new one that is a super fun play on the game, Fuck, Marry, Kill. Scott, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me again. I was on before, but this time
Yes.
I'm flying solo. I'm flying solo without Steve.
Yes. So it's a little different. We're doing a Kurt movie today. So yeah, tell us about your projects.
I met you through Ryan Rebelkin over on the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where I have a show with my co-host Steve Smith. We have two shows. We do the Men of Action, which is a monthly pitting of two action movies against one another. Either they're for the first time we did it from either an actor or a director's catalog. This year we're pitting together sequels. So we try to stay away from the big names. We try to stay away from the ones that everyone talks about. We try to, bring light to, movies that everyone knows. Die Hard, everyone knows, Rambo, everyone knows those. But we try to go into the sequels or the stuff from people's catalog that maybe not got talked about a lot. You can only say so much about Rambo. You can only say so much about Die Hard that everyone hasn't spoken about. So we try to skirt our way around those. Speaking of Die Hard, we also do Dropping a Bruce, which is also there every month. It's every 2 weeks after the other show. What Steve and I have decided to do is we have decided to go through all 40 of Bruce Willis's direct-to-video releases over his career. And I think we hit the halfway point in October as we record, so we'll be at the 20 mark. We have 20 more to go. So a little over a year and a half left of the journey.
How are you feeling about it? 20 in, 20 to go.
Fools. It has been a very daunting task for sure. It's weird because now we're on 20. We talked about it when Steve and I recorded it last week, that it's also kind of sad because you're watching this now with the eyes knowing that we know he has aphasia, that he will never act again, that there's a real good chance now he doesn't even remember a lot of the stuff he did. Like the aphasia has really set in. How much he remembers and functions as far as like a normal person, we don't know. Obviously, going to keep it private, which I would expect them to do as this family. So it's kind of sad though, because you're now knowing it. If we'd went into this and there had never been an aphasia, we could have this fun little why did he decide to go this route? But when you know that he has aphasia, we're really starting to see it peek through. So it is like if anyone's had a family member who's had Alzheimer's or dementia or has seen someone they knew vibrant suddenly kind of slip away from them slowly. So we're kind of watching the decline of Bruce Willis, our childhood hero. And it's been kind of sad. It's really melancholy. We still enjoy watching the films because, we try to get the best out of them that we can. They're really tough to get through, some of them. But the toughest part is watching him slip away in front of our eyes, every month. So it's kind of a downer. I don't mean to bring your podcast down right off the gate, but that's been kind of a bit of a downer now that we've gotten later
It is a little
into
bit,
our
but
watching.
But the Men of Action is super fun. What was the most recent one I just listened to? It was like Prometheus versus
and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, they were really good movies. Yeah, we really enjoyed them.
I actually haven't seen either of those, but you have a new show too that is super fun.
Yes, Kill, Marry, Smash, and Eat. Basically, it's a couple friends of mine had started. Actually, Craig Cohen, a friend of ours, who has done stuff over on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. A good friend of Ryan's. He's been on my other show, the Church of Tarantino, and he had started a podcast called, I believe he calls it The GOAT. He's talking about Brian De Palma's films, and that inspired Ryan to do one. And what it inspired me to do between him and some other people I've podcasted with was I looked at it as like, how can I have this fun little show that I'd actually come up with this idea 2 years ago, but I was so busy doing other things that I didn't have the time in my schedule to also put it together and keep it going. So it recorded 2 episodes that never heard the light of day. And then I decided to reboot it once these gentlemen started to do theirs. I've got them in 10 episode like capsules. So this year, this first season, you were on it. We are doing movies and TV shows from the 90s. I'll probably take like a 2-month break, 2.5 month break, then start recording ones. And then for season 2, it'll be TV and movie from the 80s. And I try to do that every, like, kind of like a 10 week on, 10 to 12 weeks off, 10 weeks back on, kind of give a little bit of air to also be able to record and put them together. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's just, it's a bunch of lighthearted, get it fun. You get a chance to be a little deranged. You show a bit of your freak side and have some fun talking about hypothetical things with fictional characters.
Yeah,
no one's really getting hurt.
I think it's a very fun show. I highly recommend it to listeners.
I appreciate that.
Well, a little bit of a show update. So you guys might have noticed that there hasn't been a new episode of RetroMade in the last month-ish or so. And it has been an unplanned hiatus for Katie because I got a new job. And
congrats.
Thanks. Very, very demanding as, just being new, and also just it's a demanding job. So I have not quite figured out how to balance, get that right new job, work-life balance yet. So please bear with me. I set out to do every 2 weeks, and I really tried to stick with that, so that I've missed a couple. So if you're sticking with me, thank you for sticking with me. Apologies. Actually, hearing you and Ryan and all these people with multiple shows, how on earth do you do it all with an actual job as well?
It's not easy. I'll be honest. A lot of my free time is spent. The hard part's not the recording. Recording a podcast is cake. We do, depending how long it goes, 3 hours is usually a max. Like I will record one later this evening. Probably take about 3 hours. It's an anniversary episode for English Basterds for my church. But because I do some multiple ones, I have really set up a schedule. Like I have a recording schedule. I try to do it months in advance. That's where I learned from things like trying to, start another podcast when I was doing 2 and realizing where am I going to fit this in.
Got it. Yeah.
So I'm waiting for AI to get better at editing audio.
God, right?
Because I add things in between some of my stuff. So having it edit all the way, I still have to listen to it because I would have to go and cut out certain things. Like sometimes, edit. You ramble on about something. You realize that was a good conversation we had, but you're like, that has nothing to do with what the listeners want to hear. So you go, okay, that's not going to make it into the episode. So I don't know that AI is there yet to know what you or I like in our episodes and be able to put stuff in. So, it's still, I would just like a little help, that heavy lifting, because that really bogs you down as the editing really hurts.
It does. Yeah. And so here's where my natural procrastination is not helping. I used to be like a month in advance, maybe 2, maybe I need to get my shit back in order. But at any rate, it is October, you guys. And if you're really into spooky season, and I don't have anything for you this year, but last year you can listen to those episodes on The Thing as well.
Oh, yes.
And so that was with our Kurt Russell and Ghost with Patrick Swayze. So those were last year's spooky season episodes.
Nice.
So I don't know if you haven't listened to them, listen to them or re-listen to them. So that's the show update. Now it's time to open the time capsule so we can get into the 80s frame of mind. February 1985.
Wow.
What a time. I think you're a little bit older than me, Scott,
Mhm.
but a lot of these things that I was too young to watch are things, it's like shocking how early in the 80s, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally know that. But I think it was just like reruns or replays on the radio or something.
Yep.
Because I very much remember a lot of the mid 80s.
Yeah. That's also when cable was starting to come out.
Mhm.
You know, we had the VHS era. So it's weird. We were kind of in that generation where like you have all the social media stuff now, but it felt like that was kind of like almost like the beginning of what social media would be like, is the ability to have things at the touch of your fingertips that weren't available before. So, you know, to see a movie, you used to have to go and see the movie, or you didn't see the movie, you had to wait for it to hopefully be syndicated on television. You know, like one of the big major TV stations, and that didn't always happen. And then once cable came out, they had to find enough programming to cover all this hours of television. So then, you know, they started to get these movies. Places like USA Network would have things like Up All Night.
Yeah.
You'd have reruns on the weekends. I mean, HBO would run movies to death. You know, like I think we did an episode on the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster was on all the time. I think
the Beastmaster, yeah.
I think it was
TBS, I think.
Yeah, and HBO, well, one of the, I forget what comedian it was, but he said that HBO stood for, hey, Beastmaster's on. So
yeah.
So we were in that era where like, we may not have got it spoon fed to us or right from the source right away, but we did have that once mom and pop video stores popped up and Blockbuster and stuff. We were able to get stuff like at a lightning fast rate, you know. And now obviously now everything's streaming, but we were able to. We had kind of had that early on. We had the building blocks for what would be today's streaming, today's internet kind of stuff was happening right around the 80s. It was a great time to be alive.
It was. Now the TV shows, the episodes that I do where the movie is set in the early 80s, it's very clear that what was being offered to us, whether that was what we wanted or that, you know, whatever the case may be, it was soap heavy, primetime soap. And then later in the 80s, it was all sitcom all the time, which I love. I love a sitcom. So February 1985 would have been the 84-85 primetime season. And it is a perfect combination of we're easing out of that primetime soap and easing into sitcom central. So we have top shows, Dynasty, Dallas, the premiere season of The Cosby Show.
Oh, wow. That's right.
Family Ties, The A-Team, Simon and Simon, Murder, She Wrote, Knots Landing, Falcon Crest, Crazy Like a Fox. Have no idea what that is. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
Never even heard of it. It must have been on just for one season. I was gonna look it up and I didn't. Hotel and Cheers. So those were like the top shows according to Nielsen ratings.
Those are some heavy hitters. So I knew my parents, you know, the Falcon Crest, the Dynasty, the Dallas, those are my parents' shows. Like that's the boomers TV shows in it. That's boomer TV shows of the 80s. Like they, you know, I mean, anyone who was of our age knows that there was an episode of Dallas where someone shot JR. That was all that was talked about by family members during the summer of that year, you know, whenever that came back on. So as a kid, you knew about it, but I could care less. I didn't know who JR was or what that was.
Yeah, I've literally never seen that show, but I know the
I know exactly
phenomenon.
the reference.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I know A-Team was a huge fan of A-Team. The Cosby Show. Now, obviously, hindsight being 2020, when you were going through them, I was wondering if you're going to say the Cosby Show. And then when you say it, I always wonder, it's like, it's the chicken and the egg scenario. Did Bill Cosby become the creep he ends up being because of the fame of the Cosby Show? Or was he always that? Right? Like because you were recording, the P. Diddy is a big thing right now, right? It's a cultural touchstone moment now, what's going on with him. And you wonder, was he always this guy? Or did the sudden ability to now have, you know, like maybe had the mentality of it, but now that he has the power and the fame to you know, maybe tap into some of these disturbing fantasies of his, is that, you know, which is the part that pushed him over? Was he always going to be this way, or did that fame suddenly like really?
I see what you're saying. I think these people always have that nastiness in them, and the fame gives them opportunity that they maybe wouldn't have had if they were just an average show. But I will say average shows act that way too.
Oh, 100%.
They don't have
the global scale of which to do it.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah,
I love
the
the
Cosby
Cosby
Show.
Show.
Oh, I loved
mean,
it
I
too.
know separating the artist and
Yes.
the art are two things. Like I'm a Michael Jackson fan. I love his music, but I also know who he became. So that's always those tough things you have to kind of deal with. But I think it's also a good exercise for us to be able to separate art from the artist.
Mhm.
But I love the Cosby Show. Family Ties, Michael J. Fox. I
Mhm.
mean, that was, amazing. Those three shows, Family, and then Cheers. I mean, Cheers
Yeah.
was a little bit older. That
Mhm.
again is more of a. I loved it as I got older because I would watch it in reruns, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson later on in episodes or in seasons.
It's not like a kid show, you know?
No,
like
it's
you
not a
have to-
kid show. But as
yeah.
you mature into it,
Right.
there's a lot of funny stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's a more
yeah.
again, it's a boomer sitcom. It really, it spoke to the boomer generation at the time. So you get into those, but man, Cheers, Family Ties, Cosby Show, and the A-Team, plus all the other dramas you talked about. I mean, those are some of like the major TV shows of that time frame. Like those are a stamp to that era. And I mean, there's some great shows. They really were some really good shows. I don't know that we have many shows that come down the pipeline. I know that we've gone to streaming, so maybe streaming services have better dramas, but the sitcom seems to be dying. Like the originality of the sitcom, what makes sitcoms funny, seems to really being a dying art form. Because you probably remember NBC had that Thursday night sitcom lineup for years.
So good.
There was 4 shows, like from, 8 up to 10 o'clock. So 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30. There were 4 sitcoms, and then they'd have whatever, it was ER in the 90s, but whatever their major selling point on Thursday nights for them, they would have that following
Friends
those 4.
And Will and Grace.
So it was like Seinfeld into Friends, or Friends into Seinfeld, and then 2, and then boom, ER would be the last one. Those were the
Must-see
days.
TV.
Must-see
and you
TV.
would
Those
tape
were
it.
the
You would,
days.
if you had something going on, you would tape it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, there's a few notable premieres for this season 2 that weren't necessarily in the top, or they were a cartoon. And these spoke to me because I'm a small child at this time. Muppet Babies was one of my favorite
I remember
cartoons. My Little Pony, Punky Brewster. These all premiered this season.
Wow.
Kids Incorporated, which I think was on like a channel we didn't get. So I watched it at like my neighbors or something. I don't know. It was a pay channel. But then nightly shows. Miami Vice premiered. 84-85 season. Night Court.
Remember that well. So some of these are like all, as you get older, like late 80s, when these are all syndicated, these are when I start to really know about Night Court and really start to watch Miami Vice. Because, like you're saying, you're young. I was 9. I just turned 9 in December of 84 before we got into 85. So I'm like you said, I'm in elementary school. I'm not watching Miami Vice.
Charles in Charge. Do you remember Charles in Charge?
Scott Baio, how he has fallen since then.
Oh, how he has fallen. I know. And he was so good looking too. I loved Charles in Charge for some reason. I was like, this is a wild, they were just, again, I know I talked about it before, but this is where it was a nice house. They probably were maybe on the wealthier side, but there were just regular middle-class families that had help in the 80s.
Yes, like Mr. Belvedere and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, what is happening? That's not the case now. We can barely afford our rent or mortgages.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who's the Boss? One of my that's in my top 5. This was its premiere season. I will go into more detail on Who's the Boss in an upcoming episode. I love it. Oh. Yeah, I think I know I have a thing for Italian men because I'm like everyone. I'm like, oh God, that Tony Danza.
Good old Tony. And then Alyssa Milano for those of us who are young men.
For the men,
we're like, holy cow, who's this young lady? Yeah.
She is a striking beauty.
She is. I was thinking the theme songs that we used to have, like it started like the late 70s, but the 80s shows, like the theme songs were just so amazing. Like I have an actual playlist on my Apple Music of just 80s theme songs, just because of the nostalgia of it. They're just so good. Like you hear them, and we used to sometimes, like on road trips, we play content. Can you name it? Within like 3 bars of what the song is, and then stop.
And you can, usually.
It's just, I mean, the minute you hear it, you're like it's crazy. Like you say, we're transporting back, but you really are transported back. I can remember smells, moments, days. Like that day that I was watching the show, like. It really does bring back this wave of nostalgia that you're just kind of like, holy cow, that was the time and place you didn't realize really kind of hooked you. I'm not saying that shows don't have good ones today, but just there was always like a singing version too. Like it wasn't just like musical. There was always like an actual song to it. Like the Golden Girls has got a great one.
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah.
Cheers. I mean, they're just, they're forever
Phenomenal.
locked in your head.
And I mentioned Murder, She Wrote being, one of the top shows. I recently posted on the Facebook page, speaking of theme songs, the still of the opening or the ending still, you can hear it. Like you can hear a picture. It is wild. Yes. And Jeopardy, I will say, is the last one.
Yeah.
I thought Jeopardy was older for some reason. It premiered in 1984-85 season.
It's the longest, I think, running game show, if I'm not mistaken, like without break, like without a, like I know the Family Feud had some ones. Family Feud was on, but then like kind of goes into this weird small studio, almost like on syndication, but not on TV. And then, the couple guys bring it back. Obviously, guys, why am I forgetting his name? Who's
Steve
running it now?
Harvey?
Steve Harvey. How did I forget Steve Harvey? But Alex Trebek was forever the guy, and the theme song. Whenever anybody needs a moment to think, someone always hums the do. Doesn't matter where you are. If someone needs any more than 3 seconds to think, some wise ass is always going to hum the Final Jeopardy theme song.
Okay. Aside from the Jeffersons, which this was its finale season.
Okay.
So it's like you can very much feel, because that seemed in my head like late 70s, early 80s. And so it ended this season. And then there are a few cartoons that I adored that ended this season. Do you remember the Heathcliff cartoon?
I do remember Heathcliff because a lot of people don't remember Heathcliff. He was kind of like that. He was the Bugs Bunny to Garfield's Mickey Mouse, right? Like he was kind of like, he was an orange tabby cat. They wanted to kind of like have someone who could compete with Garfield, but without being Garfield. Like they didn't lean into any of the stuff Garfield does, the eating of lasagna, the being mean to the dog, but I do remember Heathcliff, but he didn't have a long run.
No, he didn't. I think it was like 1 or maybe 2 seasons. There were quite a few episodes, but yeah. Now, what I remember about it is this was a thing that they did with some cartoons. It was like the first half was Heathcliff, the orange tabby cat. And then the second half was like this, they were like the rough and tumble, like alley cat version. And they got into all sorts of antics. And one of them had a headband with leg warmers. It was like a 2-part cartoon somehow. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I do. I know, Charlie. If you're not a child of the 80s, might not.
Heathcliff, no one should terrify their neighborhood. But Heathcliff just won't be undone, playing pranks on everyone. There's a race to be on top, the competition doesn't stop. Mixing with the ladies' fair, being charming, debonair. The game will reign supreme, and no one can deny. They'll make up history, and always have an alibi. So join in the jubilee. The cats are great, they'll all agree. Combine in each calamity, the cat's superiority. Heathcliff, no one should terrify their neighborhood. But Heathcliff just won't be undone. You should realize he can win with you.
Yeah. And Inspector Gadget.
Oh, I love Inspector Gadget on Nickelodeon.
I love it. I love it.
It's a great
He-Man
show.
and the Masters of the Universe. It was
Love
his
He-Man.
last season. Me too. Well, She-Ra, but He-Man too. The Wuzzles was also its final season. Did you ever watch that?
I remember it, but I don't remember. I vividly don't remember it. Don't remember.
Like the
but I remember
combo. It was like the stuffed animals were really popular. It was a combination of animals.
So kind of playing with the Care Bears, because the Care Bears eventually went from the bears to
You're right.
adding extra animals in with them. I think they even in their dolls, elephants and some other things like started to show up and kind of join the Care Bears.
Yeah. Yeah. I do miss this time. So that was TV.
So do I.
I know. It like teleports me back to being a kid in the living room. And 80s.
It was a great time. Like I say it all the time. I told my kids who are now adults, young adults, I was like, listen, I love you and all, but someone gave me a magic pill to go back to the 80s. I can't promise you'd be back again. I don't know. I'd go back. I'm out. I'm headed back. I go back now.
Figure it out. You're on your own from now on. Yep. Well, let's transition to some music.
All right.
Again, 80s, mid 80s. This is the top 10 billboards the week of February 15th, 1985. So like Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So Careless Whisper is the number one
makes sense.
song.
I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend, I know you're not a fool. You should have known better than to cheat a friend, waste the chance that I'd been given. So I'm never gonna dance again the way I danced with you.
And it says actually Wham featuring George Michael. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think that was right around the time where he was going solo. Wham had kind of reached its apex. And I think, because if you look it up on even iTunes, you can find it under George Michael and you can find it under the Wham collection. There is that weird, I think he had made it. I think he was trying to like separate and keep it as his own song. Because it is, I mean, if you go back and listen to Wham, it's really pop, bubblegum stuff, early stuff. And then Careless Whisper is something that's different.
So good.
But I think it was at that moment that he was transitioning, getting ready to release his own album.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
Which would come out a couple years later. And then, so yeah, there was that unfortunate time that Wham was about ready to end. And George Michael of the late 80s, early 90s was going to be born. The leather jacket, the whole thing.
Oh, I remember I had the biggest crush on him. He was a smoke show.
It's funny. I remember George Michael from that era. And, you know, he was the coolest dude ever. He was gay. And you look at Wham, you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, he looks super gay in Wham. It's super gay, that whole band.
Of course.
And then Careless Whisper, also, he's starting to get like the 5 o'clock shadow. He's got the earring. Like, he's starting to get like almost, you know, looking like almost
all these
like
models in the videos, supermodels.
Oh, God, yes. But he kind of looks a little like Don Johnson on Miami Vice. Like, he's got this like edge to him. You're kind of like, he's got the I Want Your Sex video.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, wow. I mean, the Wham days to the early George Michael days are stark differences. But yeah, Careless Whisper is that last moment where it's considered, can be part of the Wham catalog, but it's really George Michael saying, I'm a much more serious songwriter. And we would get a lot more serious, cool songs from him following this year.
Yes. Oh, George Michael. Number 2 song is a Foreigner song, I Want to Know What Love Is.
Oh, God. Oh.
So these are like,
these
are very
right.
like love-y this week. Yeah. Easy Lover, number 3.
Oh, good.
Now, it's Philip Bailey with Phil Collins. Who is Philip Bailey?
I don't know who Phil Bailey was. The only reason I know Phil Bailey is because he sang the song with Phil Collins.
I just thought it was
a black
Phil
gentleman,
song.
A singer. I don't know if he was a part of another group. I feel bad for Philip Bailey because the song is really good because he's also on it. But because it is Phil Collins of Genesis fame, and you know, Phil Collins was able to, he's one of the few artists to be able to have an amazing 80s with a group and solo at the same time. Like, I don't think there's another artist out there who's been able to do that. So Philip Bailey just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. We don't know who Philip Bailey is, even to this day. Here we are, 40 plus years later. We're like, Philip Blue?
I know. I literally have never heard the name before until looking up what the songs were for this episode. Billy Ocean has the number 4 song with Loverboy. Again, the first 5 songs all are about love.
It makes sense. I mean, this is back when the records companies and radio stations knew what the hell they were doing, right? Like, they knew when to release certain songs at certain points, right? Like, you don't release Pour Some Sugar on Me in February. You release it in May and June, so it's it's a summer anthem the entire time. You know, like,
great.
They used to know what they were doing.
They used to know what they were doing. I feel like, again, I was going to look stuff up. Shit got in the way. Method of Modern Love is the number 5 song.
I know that song well. That is, they spell it. They're spelling it METHODLOVOFLOVE. So they spell the Method of Modern Love the entire time, but now they're not. Now, once again, they're arguing again. So Hall and Oates are not Hall and Oates anymore. They're having a dispute, but they're also late 70s. So
I was never super into Hall and Oates, and I did
love the Hall and the Oates, but the Hall
and the Oates.
I
liked Maneater. Are they Maneater?
Yes, they are Maneater. Yeah,
I like that song, but other than that,
they've got Private Eyes.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, there's a couple songs in there. Yeah, I get it. Hey, you know, They're one of those bands like a Huey Lewis and the News that are just kind of like one of those good pop bands that have a song seems like every year to go out throughout that decade, and you go, oh yeah, that's right, I like that song. Oh my God, that's right, that's that song. So
yeah, that's a good point. Can't Fight This Feeling. REO Speedwagon is the number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And The Heat Is On by Glenn Fry is
the late
number
great
8.
Glenn Fry, great song. I believe that was in Miami Vice. I believe that song might have been in the Miami Vice show at some point.
Yeah, that tracks. Was it in the movie? Was it?
It could have been on the movie too, though. Or was it? Is that in Beverly Hills Cop 2? Maybe. It's in one of those. It's in one of the. It's either Another 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop 2, or Miami Vice. It's in one of those cop-related shows or movies for sure. Mm-hmm. It's sad that we can't remember.
I know. Don Henley has the number 9 song, The Boys of Summer. They play that on the radio quite a bit still.
Yes, they do. And at that time, because Glenn and him were former Eagles at the time, and no one talked, that had to chase Don Henley's ass. Like Glenn Fry was ahead of him in a song by one, like just ahead of him. That had to definitely make Don Henley a little bit upset.
Well, these are week over week, so like last week it might have been the other, but
true. But for Valentine's Day, he's upset.
Yep. And then I don't think I know this song. The number 10 song is a David Lee Roth song, California Girls. Do I know this?
So it's his version, his cover of the Beach Boys' California Girls.
Oh,
and this was David Lee Roth had just left Van Halen. So this is, so because 1984, their album came out in 83. I was a huge Van Halen fan. Both iterations of the band. Not Guy Sharon. He's not a Van Halen person. Anyways, but yeah, he had just left Van Halen. So in 86 is when Sammy Hagar's officially a part of the band. They actually released their first album together. So this is David Lee Roth transitioning. So he did release a 3 or 4 song EP to kind of announce that he's now who he is. And so he covers California Girls. It's actually a really good cover. Like David Lee Roth's first couple of solo albums were pretty good because he's such an egomaniac. Like he had an amazing band with him. Stevie Vai was his guitar player. So he went from Eddie to Stevie. So he knew what he had to do, but he became such an egomaniac that after by the second full album of his, the band kind of fell apart and then his career kind of just nosedives off the edge.
I didn't even know he had like solo albums.
Yes. Oh, he does. Yeah. He has a couple of them. They're not bad. But again, he's not the same as he was with Van Halen.
Well, you're going to dislike me because I do not care
for
Van Halen.
I get it.
They're just not my thing.
Listen, I don't think they were aimed at young girls. They were definitely aimed at more young men. Yeah,
I know, but sure. I loved Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith and the Rolling Stones. And so I like
I think
rock.
Because they have an edge to them. Yeah. I think there's an edge that I don't want to say a bad book, but there's a bit of an edge to, especially when Aerosmith reinvented themselves in the 80s after they almost all died from heroin from the 70s. So, but I get it. I mean, because Guns N' Roses kind of ends. I know grunge gets the full credit for ending hair metal, but it's Guns N' Roses that really kind of ends because they come in with like hard rock. Like they're no longer just trying to, make stripper anthems as a lot of these songs became. They were really trying to. They came with a whole different attitude. Just this, like almost like 1970s Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin type of edge to this.
The lyrics behind the music was substantive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the music for this Valentine's week.
I love the music.
Do you remember what was happening in the world? Let's see, Scott.
Let's see.
Okay, so apparently it was like crazy cold. State record low temperatures in both Colorado, where I live, Maybell, Colorado, don't know where that is, -61 Fahrenheit.
Wow. That's back
I didn't even know it went
winter.
that long in regular, unless you're like in Antarctica or something. And then in Petersink, Utah, -69 Fahrenheit. That's wild.
Freaking cold.
And for non-U.S. people, that is -52 and -56 Celsius, respectively.
It's cold. That's the thing cold.
It is. Yeah. Right? You can't go outside.
That's the thing cold, yes.
And they were in Antarctica.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, this is wild. 20 countries sign a UN treaty outlawing torture. Sounds good, right?
Well, guess what country didn't?
Guess what country didn't?
The United States of America.
Isn't that?
Oh, yeah. That's not surprising at all.
I don't know. I kind of was to me. I'm like, oh, but now I'm like, oh, duh. I don't know.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was a huge album at this time in February of 85. Madonna's album, Like a Virgin.
Oh, wow.
It goes number one. The entire album, the whole album goes number one for 3 straight weeks.
Makes sense. That was a big album.
It was. And I loved Madonna. Loved. Like everything she did until... I don't like the later versions of Madonna, but the earlier versions.
I do feel bad for her because she has to reinvent herself. I feel like women have to somehow always have to reinvent themselves, which is unfair because the Rolling Stones haven't reinvented themselves and they're still popular. You know, they still keep going on. And how they're all alive is that's a true testament. We should study their bodies when they die because
I know
how
Charlie
they did what
died,
they've done
but outside of that, have you seen the Keith Richards? All the memes about like Keith Richards is. Yeah,
he needs to be studied for science. Like he really does. How he's alive is really remarkable. But yeah, and then with Madonna's album coming out, it became even more popular because that following fall, she would go on MTV and have her big performance in the wedding dress for Like a Virgin on the MTV Music Awards. Back when MTV was a freaking channel for music television. But yeah, I remember that. I mean, that was taboo. Like that's when Gen X and the Boomers. That was like we're definitely going to be different. You know, you may have had the Summer of Love, but we've got Madonna. You know what I mean? It was kind of they were like, well, you can't be watching this kind of, this is blasphemous.
The what was the music video with the Like a Prayer?
Like
that
a Prayer.
Was, like,
oh my gosh.
Controversial.
Oh, big time. Yes. Yeah, I think there was like a Black Jesus and she kissed Black Jesus. Like that set people.
Yes.
The Catholic Church went nuts for that. They would lost their minds on this.
That was a great video. Yeah. Loved it.
But like I said, back when MTV, when there were the music videos were like as important as the song. Like the song.
It was appointment TV. You sat and you waited for your song or the music video awards. Even their movie awards were such a thing back in the day. They were. So on a similar note, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, Whitney Houston debuts her album, Whitney Houston, and it went on to be the Grammy Award Best Pop Vocal Performance for a female in 1986 and the Billboard Album of the Year for 1986. So that was her debut album, and that was the cutesy little...
she was cutesy, but boy, did she still have a voice.
Oh, Whitney Houston is...
one of the best singers
agreed.
Ever. Yeah. Her voice she has the best performance, in my opinion, singing-wise, of the national anthem. Her national anthem down. At the Super Bowl is the best performance of the national anthem ever.
She's incredible. I mean, a lot of people talk Mariah, but I'd go Whitney all the way.
Yeah, look, it's great that you can go up and make dolphins jump out of water, but that's not exactly a tone you want to hear in your headphones, right? Whitney,
yeah,
she can belt it out.
Yeah. Oh, that was sad. Poor Whitney.
Yeah, she ran into Bobby Brown, and boy, it all went downhill from there.
Yeah. Men are the undoing of good women. So February 15th is the day that The Mean Season came out.
Yes.
Do you remember, or can you think of another movie that came out that same day, February 15th, 1985? Huge 80s movie. It is in my top 5 movies of all time.
I'm just gonna guess, is it The Breakfast Club?
It is. Good guess, Scott.
I was trying to remember. Okay, so I remember Breakfast Club had to be early to mid 80s because it wasn't late 80s. Like I'm thinking it's got to be John Hughes or Steven Spielberg. The two that came to my mind was either Spielberg or John Hughes. And I thought, well, Spielberg only does, at that time, he's doing summer tentpoles. So I'm like, okay, it's not Spielberg. So I guessed with John Hughes.
Good guess. Yep. It came out the same day as the movie we're going to talk about. The next one, there's a TV series on Netflix called Griselda. It's about the godmother of cocaine, the female Colombian drug lord.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Sofia Vergara plays her, who is just so beautiful.
She is.
The reason I noted this is because the real Griselda Blanco is, this is mean of me to say, but hideous. She is so not attractive at all. At any rate, in February of 1985, she was arrested in California. And then she was later convicted, serves 15 years for manufacturing and distributing cocaine.
15 years, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually, yeah, 15 years, not that bad.
considering
America. I loved Diet Cherry Coke when I was a kid.
I'm a
Diet
Cherry
version-
Coke fan, not the Diet version, but I still love Cherry Coke to this day.
Well,
It is my favorite.
it came out in February of 1985.
Well,
Cherry Coke.
but you know what? I have some. I should have. If I had known, I would have a can with me right now. So I don't like to drink soda if I can help it, but if I have to,
Yep.
Cherry Coke is my go-to all the time.
Yeah, it's good. The diet version. I just don't like, I think the regular version of any soda is too sweet for me. But I love Diet Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Diet Cherry Coke. The diet version didn't exist yet. I don't know what year that comes out. But okay, so quite a few people got married. It being
A lot of famous
it
people.
being February and all. O.J. Simpson
To Nicole.
to Nicole.
Oh,
And 9 years later, he murders her.
allegedly.
Allegedly, I should. Yes,
Allegedly.
yes.
He was all the way up to his death. He was looking for her killer.
Mhm.
They were a golfer. If you didn't really know, they were definitely a golfer because that's where he was looking for them on a golf course. Yeah,
I was just watching the Menendez Boys
Yes,
series on
yeah.
Netflix, and what was their dad was like a big record producer and TV producer, and he hired OJ for commercials. So there's always an OJ tie-in. I feel
always, especially in the 80s,
like. Mm-hmm.
80s to early 90s. It's OJ season.
Director Martin Scorsese, who at this time was 42. In my brain, he's always like 75.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes,
But he weds producer Barbara Defina. I don't know who that is.
he didn't
but
murder
yeah.
her though, folks. He did
No,
not
he
murder
didn't.
her.
So Martin got married. Let's see. No, he's married to Helen Morris now. They got married in
Okay.
99. So no, they are not still married.
They divorced the old-fashioned way, not with murder. So
Not with murder. Joe Montana weds actress and model Jennifer Wallace also.
And I think they are still married, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's impressive.
I don't know. I think.
He's like a pretty good looking guy for an old guy still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got it together.
You are correct.
I thought so. I wasn't
However,
sure.
this is his third wife. He had been married twice before this, but this one stuck. Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of divorces, George Foreman divorces one of his
geez.
wives,
Yeah.
Andrea Skeet, and they were only married for 3 years. They got divorced in February. Mm-hmm.
Well, he had many wives and many children. And many grills.
And they're all named George, aren't they?
Except
for the girls,
There's a
maybe.
whole, I think one girl's named Georgina. I'm not
Georgina,
mistaken.
yeah,
Yep.
you're probably right. A couple people died in February of 85, including Frank Oppenheimer, if that sounds familiar to you. He was the American particle physicist, and his brother was the Robert Oppenheimer.
Yes. The real Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
He
So
was
Frank
a
and
sham.
Robert. Does the name Nicholas Colasanto mean anything to you?
No, unless
I'm saying it wrong. Nicholas Colasanto, a.k.a. Coach from Cheers.
Oh, he died. That's right, because the coach dies, and that opens up Woody.
Mhm.
Woody
He was only
takes-
61.
Oh, that's too bad. Well,
Yeah.
that's back when 60, it's bizarre. 60 looked
True.
so much older back then. Like my grandparents were in their 60s, and they look like people who are now in their 80s or 90s. For instance, look at Wilford Brimley. When he was in that one show, he was like 40 years old.
Yeah.
Or when he was in Cocoon, he's like late 40s. I'm in my late 40s, and I don't think I look as bad as Wilford
No.
Brimley did at that time.
It is
So
wild.
yeah.
60 is like 45 now.
it really is. It really is.
All right. Before we get into the movie,
All right.
I know I asked you about Patrick. Let me ask you, it seems like dudes your
Kurt.
age love Kurt.
Well-
Tell me about it.
I think the reason we probably love Kurt more than, and this is no slight to Mr. Patrick Swayze, because I do love Patrick Swayze, but I think the reason it is two characters, Snake Plissken,
Mm.
and then he's in The Thing as well. And he does them so close together. And then obviously as a huge Tarantino fan, he's been Stuntman Mike now later in his career,
Mm-hmm.
and he is amazing in The Hateful Eight, and he's in a really good movie that he shot around the same time called Bone Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell's just, he's in one of my favorite sport movies of all time. He's in, what's it? God dang it. The movie about when we beat the Russians in hockey. Why am I suddenly blanking? Miracle. I want to call it Glory. It's not Glory. He's in Miracle. I don't know. He's just something about Kurt Russell that we always feel like you can trust. I don't know what it is about him. I do think, though, it is Snake Plissken. And again, this old age is really sucking because now I can see his face in The Thing, and I can't think of his name right now. I want to call him McCluskey. It's not McCluskey.
Oh, it's
Mick.
It is Mac.
Oh, God.
Mac.
Right?
It is Mac something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. And everyone who's listening is going,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
idiot. They're
I should
correct.
know
Yes.
this.
How do I
I
not
should know.
remember it? McCready.
McCready. Yes. Good.
But I
good
think
one.
it's because of that. I think he becomes one of those first male icons. He's there before Schwarzenegger. He's there before Stallone, right? So he is kind of like this quasi action hero, but yet kind of like this dark brooding guy, like someone we could see ourselves having the possibility of being. I love
the
Stallone
everyman.
movies. We've talked
so
about
to speak.
this. I love Stallone, but still, I mean, that day, they're on the roids, they're huge.
You
That
can't
is
be
just
Stallone.
not.
No
I
regular
cannot be
person.
Stallone. No, I can't. And I understand that. I'm okay with that. I've settled that a long time ago. I'm not going to be Stallone or Schwarzenegger, but I could be. Snake Plissken. I could be McCready. I could be Jack Burton because he also does Big Trouble in Little China. I
Love
could be that guy,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, he is the everyman. I do feel like I could be that guy. And he is in so many great movies and sometimes he blends so well into those characters that you forget he's in some of these movies. And he's just such an amazing, underrated actor. I think we know him because of who he is and some of his major roles. But you go back to even some of his catalog and you look at it and you go, oh my God, he was in that film. I forget. He was in some superhero movie way back in the early 2000s that almost took off, right? Like it was some kind of like Disney like superhero movie before superhero movies were popular. And he just has this great ability. And he's also well-breathed in history throughout. I think one of his first roles, he's like, I forget the name of the movie, he's like kicking Elvis Presley. Like in one of the scenes, he like kicks Elvis Presley. Like, so he's like comes from royalty. Like he grew up in
He was a Disney kid.
the original era through the golden era, all the way through. He like is a touchstone marker throughout film that I don't think many realize. But for me, for young males in the 80s, it is Snake Plissken, it is McCready. We wanted to be him. We thought he was the coolest thing. He made an eye patch. Looks super cool.
I love them both. And I can see how Kurt resonates more with men. I can see it. He's just super cool. He's just a cool dude. And he is a very good actor. Like I've never been like, he was phoning it in. Even if
the movie's
admittedly
not great,
takes it for money. Yeah.
Even if the movie's not great, you always feel like, I think Kurt was really good in it. Like Kurt really gave us a performance today.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's get into it then.
All right. It's time for the mean season.
Now, you had not seen this before, had you?
I had not. No, I had not.
I had one time before, but it was pretty recent, like within the last 2 years probably. But I didn't really rewatching it last night. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. It's we'll get into it. Okay, so
I'm glad the way you paused is how I would have paused. Okay, I think we're on the same wavelength. Good.
February 15th, 1985, rated R. It's a 6.1 on IMDb, which is pretty high considering.
Yeah, it is. I was kind of impressed, and I looked into some of the Letterboxd stuff, and some people give it some decent praise. Like no one takes a shit on the movie. No one's like, oh my God. But as we'll discuss, there are obviously some things that hold it back from being higher than a 6.1.
Yeah. So almost 40 years ago, so people that are listening, if you have not seen this or if it's been a long time, here's a refresher. Malcolm Anderson, Kurt, is a reporter for a Miami newspaper. He's had enough of reporting the local murders and so promises his school teacher girlfriend, Christine, that they'll move away soon. Before Malcolm can hand in his notice, the murderer from his latest article phones him. The murderer tells Malcolm that he's going to kill again. The phone calls and murders continue. Soon Malcolm finds that he's not just reporting the story, he is the story. All right. This is directed by Philip Borsos. And you probably don't know him. He is a Canadian filmmaker.
Ryan knows him.
Yeah, maybe.
Shout out to Ryan.
They're best friends. He directed Bethune, The Making of a Hero, and The Gray Fox. I think those are both either like about a Canadian or set in Canada. So this is maybe his first American foray. It's based on a book written by John Katzenbach in the heat of summer. And that John also wrote the movies Just Cause and Heart's War.
Heart's War starred Bruce Willis.
Did it?
Yes, it
I
did.
can just remember Josh Hartnett, I think. He's the one I remember from that. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
when you sent me the stuff, I thought it said John Katzenberger. I was like, the guy from Cheers? And I was like, wait a minute. No, that's not right.
No, Katzenbach.
Yeah.
The other writer is Christopher Crowe, but it's
Not
under a
yeah.
pseudonym, Leon Piedmont, and he also wrote The Last of the Mohicans and Fear. Now, why under a pseudonym, do you ask? Well, he did not like the final film, so he didn't want his real name on it.
That says a lot, right? That's not good. It's not good marketing.
So I mentioned Kurt. Kurt's our man. He plays the journalist Malcolm Anderson, and his teacher girlfriend is played. Her name is Christine Connolly in the movie, and she's played by Mariel Hemingway. Do you have thoughts on Mariel Hemingway?
The name is always familiar.
Yes.
She has not been in much. Again, I don't know if she's even still alive, so this is terrible. I know she was a well-known actress, maybe even model in the 80s. But in this movie, so the journey that we get to do as podcasts, especially if you do film stuff, is you start to realize some of your old preconceived notions. Now you have some material to back up things you thought or new thoughts. So before you could just say, she was terrible, he was terrible, this and that. I don't want to say she's terrible because she's terrible. I just want to think she feels like a fish out of water. My cohort will say, like, a lot of times now, instead of movie companies, making movies with female characters for them, they'll shoehorn a female into an old male character, which is disservice to not only the old movie, but to this female. Because now you got to, so if they made a movie called Die Hard with a female lead, there's no way that female is going to live up to John McClane, and she shouldn't have to. That's unfair. You should make new movies that this is the female heroine, like a Kill Bill, like Atomic Blonde, like some of these movies were like, this is their story. This is her story, the lead character, her story. Mariel Hemingway is the only female in this movie. Really female in the movie.
She is.
There is no other females that we see in this movie. It's her and then,
some dead bodies.
And the one old lady who cries because she finds out her daughter actually was killed. Is nothing for her to do. And they always make her overreact. Almost as if, I don't want to make any disparaging remarks on the old director, but it did feel like, all right, Mariel, you got to overreact. Like when there's that dinner scene and she just gets up and storms off. And you're kind of like, I don't really know that she should be this angry at this moment.
Not yet.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand she's upset that Kurt isn't paying attention at the moment, but he's really wrapped up. I'm like, he's pulled into a serial killer murder. Like Hannibal Lecter is talking to him. So it's understandable that he might not be present all the time, right? And I'm not trying to give...
I think in her defense, it's not just that he's not paying attention. It's that she previously, I don't know, days before was like, because they have these plans to leave Miami and move to some shit town in Colorado that we'll get into.
So you know the real story about this town they wanted to go to.
Oh my God. I'm like, why did they pick that town? So she's like, should I put in my notice? And he says, yes. So she puts in her notice and then thinking that he's doing the same. And then all of a sudden she finds this out. So I would be pretty pissed too. Okay, now I don't have a job. I don't know.
But it also makes her, they also almost treat her as if she's like an idiot. I don't think there's a woman out there or man out there who, like, if their significant other was embroiled in something this large, that's making national news, that they would suddenly be like, why aren't you just walking away from it? Like if she was at the school and there was something about a child had been molested or disappeared, I don't think he would have been like, why aren't we just moving away? Who gives a shit about this kid?
Really good
point.
Like
it was kind of like almost like they forced her character to be like, not caring about what was going on, but yet also like her only reactions were like overreactions, right? It wasn't like, so she storms off and then he goes out and then I guess it's enough weather in the car or whatever. I took a cab, whatever, and he gets in and they do this throughout the film, these fake setups, like the killer's going to get us. And so then she's scared and then I felt bad for her. I know this is terrible. I feel like the only reason they had her in the film is because she was popular and they paid her enough money so she would show her breasts for one scene. I really felt like that was it. I was like, oh, okay, there's Mariel's breasts, and all right, I guess that was our 1980s. We needed breasts in this picture moment.
Well, because she had done, I think she got popular from a movie, which I haven't seen, but I think it was about rape. And I think that's what got her known. And she probably was maybe naked in it or something. And
maybe.
So, to your point about her breasts, they are nice ones, I will say.
I don't have problems with nudity in films, but like in the 80s, there was a lot of boobs for boobs. You know what I mean?
It
Kind of
is.
like, oh, there's like, this is strange.
She
like,
was there for that and to provide some sort of friction for Kurt's character
yes,
to bump up against.
which
Yeah.
was weird that they. I mean,
Mhm.
not only is she underused, but also Joey Pants is in this film, which I think
Oh
he's
my
early,
God.
right? But he's barely in the film, right? He's just there's
I
one
love
point
him.
where he's in it every other frame, and then he disappears for the last third. We never
Mhm.
see him again. I don't know if he got a call to go do the Matrix 5 years early, was pulled into the Matrix. I don't, like, it was kind of like
There's
hey,
some big names. Actually, now that you're saying
Yeah.
that, there's some good people in this. So,
Andy
just
Garcia.
to close the loop on Mariel, she is one of those when you're like, well, I feel like I've heard of her, but she's not really in anything. I was shocked when I was looking at, I'm like, why do we know her so well? She's known for Woody Allen's 1979 movie Manhattan, the early 1990s TV series Civil War. And where I recognize her from is she was on 2 episodes of the sitcom Roseanne as a lesbian who hits on Roseanne and kisses her in a
Really?
like gay bar.
Wow.
Mariel Hemingway.
I would not have remembered that at all. I remembered her
And-
from Naked Gun. She was in there for like a few minutes.
Yeah, she was. Well, so there was like the Hemingway sister. So her sister Margot, I like those names, Mariel and Margot. They both kind of started to get famous, and then Margot's career didn't go so well. She had substance abuse issues. So the sister died from an overdose in 1996. And their grandpa is Ernest
Is he?
Hemingway.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I figure I was like, I think there's no way she's not part of the Hemingway family.
I don't think I knew that. Like, I don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't care. But yeah. Anyway. Okay, so who is our killer? Did you know Richard Jordan from Things?
The face. So there's so many people in this movie that if you're a child of the 80s, you remember, like they brought people back from the dead kind of thing. I didn't know who he was, but his face was very familiar. So I know I'd seen him in things. Like Mauser's in it. He's from The Thing. He plays, what's his name's boss? The guy who might be the captain or maybe at least the partner of Andy Garcia. He's
Richard Bradford.
Yeah, he plays a character, a police captain in The Untouchables. So there's guys you see and you're like, oh my God, I remember them from this era, but because it's been so long, they've just, so many people have come and gone since. It's almost like you go back through a yearbook and you're like, oh my God, that's right. I wonder how so-and-so might teacher if they're still alive kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know what he was in, but the minute I saw him, I was like, I remember this face. This is a familiar face.
The killer's name is Alan DeLure, played by Richard Jordan. I didn't have a connection to him. He's known for Dune, the original one, Logan's Run, The Hunt for Red October, Gettysburg, and I don't know who he is in this movie, but I loved this growing up. The Secret of My Success with Michael J. Fox. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
So Richard was in that, and he's a Harvard-educated stage and screen actor, born in a very socially prominent family. In New York, he is the grandson of Learned Hand, the greatest American jurist never to have served on the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah.
He was my favorite part of the film, outside of Kurt. I thought he played an excellent... It's weird because this happens well before Hannibal Lecter, but I felt he played an excellent Hannibal Lecter type of sociopath. Like, I thought he was really good when he does that little cat and mouse game at the trailer. I actually...
Oh, when he pretends to be the
I
other
didn't
guy.
realize it. Yeah, I didn't realize it was in him. I was like, oh, that was a good twist. I was like, oh my God, that was him? I mean, the whole leg thing, he sold the hell out of that.
Yeah,
And
because
I
he's
thought
this
he was a
really
great actor.
gross run.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh. Kurt feels sorry for him.
I mean, and he went so far as to oil that fake leg brace. That was really, really well done. Like, he was great. He was. As for a villain, he was a really good villain. Like, the film may have some issues, but he himself was a really good villain. I enjoyed him.
Agreed. Now, you mentioned Richard Masur, who plays like the editor, maybe Kurt's editor.
Yeah.
The boss, Bill Nolan. And like you said, we did talk about him from the Thing episode. He played Clark in that.
Yep.
And he was also in, I'm like, who was he? Was he the dad in License to Drive? He was also in My Girl.
Oh.
He was also in Risky Business. So
A very
some more
familiar
80s
face.
and
One of
early
those
90s.
character actors you go, oh my God, that's right. So if you're a fan of 80s movies. So if you're not, then some of these people you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, he has that very familiar could have been. Yeah, he plays a boss. He could play all kinds of different characters, and you're like, oh, that's right. He's
That
in this
guy.
film. Yeah, that guy. Yeah,
that
exactly.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned Andy Garcia. I love Andy Garcia. Very young Andy Garcia. He plays like one of the detectives, Ray Martinez. And then his partner, Phil. I don't know if they ever say his name, but his partner, right? I assume that was his partner. And you mentioned he was in The Untouchables. He was also in the Legend of Billie Jean and more American Graffiti. He wasn't familiar to me. The actor's name is Richard Bradford, but he was good. Like, he's a handsome, silver foxy, like older man.
Funny thing is I only remember him from The Untouchables. So when he wasn't speaking with a bit of an Irish accent, it was throwing me off the entire movie because I really only know him in there. And I've seen The Untouchables a ton of times. One of my favorite movies growing up. And so when I saw him, I was like, oh my God. And Andy Garcia's in The Untouchables too. So I'm like, wow, these two are together. But, you know, I've seen Andy Garcia in 1,000 other things, but this guy I only really know from The Untouchables. And so when he didn't have that English accent or that Scottish accent or Irish accent that he perfects in that movie, it was throwing me off the entire time. I was waiting for him to break into that accent. So that's a me problem.
No. I haven't seen that in so long. It's interesting because obviously this movie is set in Miami, so there's a lot of Cuban like overtones, and I sort of thought that he was supposed to be Cuban.
Well, he does have that dark, almost pencil mustache.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what his
he does make
is.
a little bit of a disparaging remark. I think he's busting Andy Garcia because Andy Garcia says after one of the phone calls, they're there late at night, to Kurt Russell, would you like some Cuban coffee? And so he like takes a coffee, puts it in, and then once
I'm gonna get American coffee.
Yeah, that's what he says. He walks away because him and Kurt have a little spat, and he walks away. I'm gonna go get an American coffee or whatever. So I mean, I think he was basically telling us, I'm not Cuban at all.
After he said that, I was like, oh, maybe not. But he has that. I don't know. One thing I noted when I was looking into him, two things actually. He was the best man at Jack Nicholson's wedding.
Wow. Wow. Which one? Which wedding? The first,
I don't know. Probably
one of them.
Probably one of the early ones. And that hair. Oh, he's got that silver white hair. He said in an interview that his hair started graying at age, guesses?
7. I wanted to go low. Am I right? Did I get it right?
No.
Damn.
16.
16. All right. I was like, let's go really low. 7. Like he has one of those weird follicle diseases. Or like 7. Yeah.
16. Yeah. And then we cannot forget Joe Pantoliano.
Joe
is in
Pants.
This. Oh, Joey Pants. He is the photographer in this. And he was always wearing like a Hawaiian Miami shirt. And I love him.
I love
He has
Joe
a full head of hair in this.
He does.
Too.
That was a little shocking. But he was so underused too. But again, I have to always remind myself that I'm looking at a movie from 1985 and Joey Pants isn't anybody in 1985.
True.
In 2024, I know Joey Pants from a lot of films that he would get himself into that are very memorable that I like. And I have to remember, he was still young. You know what I mean? Andy Garcia was still young back then. These guys are still up and coming. So I can't look at Joey Pants and be like, why do they use him more? Because they didn't know what they had back then.
It was a bit part. Yeah, you're right.
But he does disappear in that film, right? Like he just suddenly, he's there. They're like doing this as a team. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, Joey, thanks a lot. We thanks for your coming in for these couple of days of acting. We'll see you later. That's all the money we have for you. And he just disappears for no reason. He's gone.
That's true. One of the things I noted, the opening credits, the music was very effective. It's like very frantic and makes you feel a little stressful.
It's a thing that happened in the 80s that we forget.
Yeah.
Because newspapers aren't a thing anymore. Really, they really aren't a thing anymore. But there's many TV shows, movies that use the paper assembly line as like a montage. It's back when journalism was respected in our country, not made a fraud by people who are fraud. That's all I'm saying that. Where now we question everything. But it was a time where like newspaper was a big deal, or, the way journalism was, and things were kind of told through the newspaper before TV because we didn't have 24-hour news cycles.
No.
There were the 3 major channels and you had your local affiliates and that was it. And so a lot of people did get their news from the newspaper. And, what is it? The Watergate was broke by newspaper people. Right? Like Deep Throat is a newspaper thing. It wasn't a TV thing. The news used to be broken by journalists who held people's feet to the fire or would get investigative stuff. So
Get that
it's
story.
It's a throwback to a time that seems to have disappeared, but it was a very cool. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it was like a nostalgic thing for me, but it's like, man, you can't see a movie since 2010 probably that really has the newspaper production montage of how papers are made and put together kind of thing anymore. I don't think they put them in TV or movie anymore.
No, it's not. No, I mean, now it's like, I don't know, YouTube star with their ring light or something. I don't know.
Yes. A YouTube star doing their makeup telling us about true crime.
But Kurt in this, Malcolm, even says he's disillusioned. He's been at this paper for 8 years and he's like, I'm burned out.
Mm-hmm.
And his boss is like, well, what do you want? And he's like, I want my Watergate. Yeah, to your point.
Kind of gets it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did bring up the music because it was like at the beginning and the end were bookends with that frantic, nervous music that I really liked. The music composer here is kind of a big deal, but I was not familiar with him. Were you?
I was, yes. I'd heard of him, yeah.
So it's Lalo Schifrin, and he was born Boris Claudio Schifrin. So Claudio became Lalo. And he's Argentinian. Pianist, composer, arranger, conductor, 5-time Grammy winner, nominated for 6 Academy Awards, 4 Emmys. Best known compositions include the theme for Mission Impossible. Wow. And he scored like Cool Hand Luke, Enter the Dragon, The Four Musketeers, Amityville Horror, the Rush Hour trilogy. And he's known for his collaborations with Clint Eastwood from the 60s to the 80s, particularly the Dirty Harry series. And you know, the Paramount Pictures fanfare? Dun, 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 dun. Is that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's him. He composed that.
It's a pretty big deal. He's a pretty big composer from the day.
And Lalo, I love that because my only other reference to Lalo was from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Lalo Salamanca.
Salamanca.
Right? Yeah. So, all right. This movie did not make money.
No, I think it lost money, which is surprising because it wasn't that big a budget.
No, it was only differing sources between $7-10 million is what it cost to make the movie, and it only grossed a little over $4. That's wild.
Well, I think because, unfortunate for it came out at the Valentine's Day time frame, and The Breakfast Club came out, and The Breakfast Club became a sensation, and so it was sunk. We talk about music. The biggest album that David Lee Roth was on was 1984, and it never reached #1 because it came out against Thriller. So sometimes you are held down by what comes out with you, and where Thriller is the greatest selling album of all time, it's hard to beat a movie that is such an 80s touchstone like The Breakfast Club, especially when it's coming out. High schoolers are going to go see it during Valentine's Day. It is a romantic comedy of sorts, as well as a coming of age story. So. A movie like this is going to get lost in the shuffle for sure.
Great point.
Great. It's point. A tough time to. If it come out in March, probably does better, right? Or January, because those are usually the dead time. But you come out against that movie, and who knew? I mean, there's no way the movie makers could have known that movie was going to be the movie it became. But yeah, it got avalanched.
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually had never heard of it until recently. Doing my Kurt season, and I kind of wonder if they kind of didn't promote it. There was how sometimes they realize it's not going to be much, and then so they don't really put any effort into promoting it, and then it just kind of goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
Or if there were other factors at play, because at this time there would have been a ton of other movies in the theater also with Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? In the 80s there were a lot, but that is a good point. I don't know. Okay, Scott, what are your
thoughts on the film?
Give me your overall thoughts. What do you think?
A movie with real potential that just kind of falls flat. I think Kurt's good in it, but it's hard because now I try not to watch a movie from the past with today's eyes, but it is strange. It's a strange film where like the journalist is actually running the investigation when really the cops would be running the investigation, regardless of what the journalist was told. Like he wouldn't be allowed to be out there in the woods with it. Like none of the stuff that happens would be allowed, but it's okay. It's a movie, so we can suspend belief. There's a lot of old tropes that we have moved past, which is a good thing, right? But the 4 times in this film, we are made to believe that the killer is going to sneak up and kill one of the main characters. 4 times in the film.
Mhm,
First time is when Meryl's breasts show, but she's in the shower and Kurt for no reason scares her. She pops up in the back car with him. There's the Hispanic man bringing the newspaper who for some reason decides to creepily sneak through the backyard instead of walking down the driveway to like. There's
For
a
no
bunch of
reason,
times
yeah.
when we're getting this set up to then eventually it leads up to where a thing that happened a lot in the 80s and I hated it. It's the old, they're dead, but they're not dead.
They're
It's
not
the old,
dead.
oh, do. You know, so he dragged a guy's body out there that, you know, like in the, you know, at the end in the Everglades and it was just properly placed and they quickly changed. Okay.
Well, you knew, here's the thing is,
I thought that was a good
know-
ending for it. I was like, oh, he took his own life. Okay. That was the 5th guy he had to kill, right? Like, and
But
so,
you knew, didn't you see
know
it?
what?
You're like,
I'll
oh
be honest
no,
with you, it's been so long since I've watched a movie where we brought someone back from the dead who wasn't dead that I was like, as soon as we didn't end the movie there, I was like, oh shit. It was when the door
He's
blew
not
open. I was like, and the music kicked like, he's not dead. I'm like,
He's
oh
not
shit,
dead.
we're doing the
the
thing
reason,
again.
and again, like I can't tell if that would have been more of a novelty in 1985.
I think it was because that's what we do with our major killers, right? Oh, Freddy's dead. Oh, he's not dead. You know what I mean? Jason's dead. He's not dead. It's that kind of, we couldn't kill someone off right away. It was always like a little twist. And I think that was kind of the suspense angle of it. I think the problem with this movie is it doesn't know if it wants to be a psychological thriller or if it wants to be an investigative cop movie, right? It doesn't know what it wants to be because it tries to play in both. Like
It's meshing them together.
yeah, exactly. We don't get enough Andy Garcia. Like
no.
and the
Well,
cops
again, he
literally let
wasn't
Kurt
really a
Russell
big
do what he
deal.
wants to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're kind of like, there was one point where he's like
Yeah.
yelling, "Go arrest him so we can all go home." It's kind of like, how about you stop interfering with the job? So I was like, hey, Kurt, why don't you stop interfering with
But
the
he's
job?
just so handsome.
Oh, he's got a great head of hair. Even my wife saw it. She goes, God, he's got a great head of hair. I said, he's always had a great head of hair. Like in all his later
it's his
movies.
trademark. It's his
Great,
trademark.
great facial hair. Like that man, he should also be studied because he has got great follicles. Whatever his genetics are, he's got great genetic follicles. He's got great hair. He can great beards and mustaches. He is, that's why every man wants to be like him because he can just have amazing facial hair. Like, it's unbelievable how good
You
he
have
can
some
look.
pretty good facial hair, Scott.
Yeah, but I can't grow hair on my head. That's the problem. Like, I can't beat Kurt. Kurt can grow beautiful hair and beautiful beard, and he can look like Santa Claus or a killer or a Wild West guy. You know what I mean? I'm kind of stuck in one genre at this point.
Oh,
but
and he
Kurt
has
was
those
good.
piercing eyes and his,
Kurt's amazing in
he's
this.
so
And
handsome in this.
Meryl's not great, but that's not Meryl's fault. She is just the girl there. She's the eye candy. She doesn't get a whole lot to do besides overreact to Kurt. And like you said, be the bit of the... honestly, his biggest antagonist is her. Till the end, like really, his biggest antagonist is her. Unfairly.
I was screaming at the TV during the final fight scene. So we're in Miami. It's storm. It's like the storm season. We'll get into why the movie was named the mean season. But so there's a storm and that causes a power outage during the final fight. So I knew, again, I don't know if it's because I have hindsight, it being 2024, watching this, the second that they showed the dead body and it was his face blown out, so you couldn't see who he was. I was like, I knew it. That's not him.
I did think that if having been in the military and having done some police work when I was in the military and having been around corpses, I did think that a handgun shot, even if you shot himself behind the ear like a suicide, that was a really big exit wound. Like it looked like he had been shot in the face with a shotgun.
Shotgun.
And I was kind of like, God damn. I was impressed by the practical effect, though. I was kind of like, wow, they really... This looks better than some of the movie practical effects
on
we
a
see in regular
low
movies.
budget. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
I
was like, man, they really put a lot of money and time into that. That looks really good. Like, you could almost say that was a person they found who was dead in the Everglades, and they just put a thing on it, and they used. They're like, this is cheap.
We go to the shop, the morgue for a while.
Right, exactly. I was disappointed that was going to end that way. And then, again, it's the 80s, so I try not to be too tough on it, because it is a movie of its time. But even the end fight, poor Meryl is screaming. The gun is on the floor. Nowadays, I love how we've changed. I love that we have moved away from women are just damsels in distresses who cannot do anything.
I was
because
screaming.
I was like, when I say this word, I don't mean, I was like, I wanted to yell, bitch, grab the gun. Just kill him.
No shit.
Like it's right there. It's right there. Like,
do
get the gun. You
something.
can kill them both. At this point, they're both a pain in your ass. Kill them both and move on to Colorado and go do your thing. Get rid of both these gentlemen who cause nothing but heartache and pain and end it. And then you knew that, and again, this is the old way of doing things in the movies. They write dialogue for a purpose, and I hate knowing this stuff because it does ruin movies for me. But when he said, "Oh yeah, we've got camera equipment and lights," I thought, "Oh, this is how he's gonna distract him." I was like, and then again, the lights come on at the right moment for 1 second, so he can flash him in the face with the camera lights. And I thought, I was like, I'm glad it's not 1985 anymore. I do miss it, but I'm glad we've moved away some of these really hokey movie tropes that just take you out of a film, right? Like, it's a pretty decent story for the most part. You can kind of see where maybe, I mean, it's like a predecessor to some really good movies we would get in the 90s where we would start to really able to do not only a police drama, but also make a psychological thriller. When you look at The Silence of the Lambs, you look at Seven, because some of these movies that would come down the road, you go, okay, and there's some moments in this film where you go, okay, I see where they're playing. I see where this could go under the proper direction and the proper script writing. Because you had the cast. I do believe you had the cast.
Oh, it was a great
that could have
cast.
done it. But it's just the execution was really poor, and we leaned into these terrible tropes that I'm glad are gone that really just sidetrack the film because it takes you out of it. And it ends up being okay. You know, I don't go like, oh, that was the worst film I've ever seen. It wasn't. But you do feel like, you're like, it's like if you're like, I'm going to go to this really nice restaurant tonight. And you're like, God, it's got really good reviews and the waiter's kind of good and the staff is good, but they just don't, they're just like tired. And then you get like a decent meal. You're like, oh, I've had better from them before. And that's kind of what it felt like. It was like, well, I've had better from them.
Good analogy. There were far too many. You could see the fake setups coming from a mile away. So I was never really in fear. Oh, and even when the girlfriend gets kidnapped at the end and you hear a gunshot, like I was never scared that he actually killed her. I knew she wasn't dead.
Yep.
Like
I did hope she was. I was kind of like, I was hoping that this is where some of the stuff that we would get down the road came from. Ooh, this is the movie 1985 that people forget that he kills the girlfriend, and that starts a thing that now we are set on a back foot when we go into movies, not knowing if a character is safe or not, you know, but I was like with you, I was like, she's going to be alive.
I was never, aside from the music creating some tension, I was never scared that any of our characters, nothing would happen to them.
I knew at the end that we were going to hit the guy back, because that's the 80s. We've discussed this many times on my other shows, especially when when we look back at action and why Bruce Willis kind of started to change, and we get different movies as we move forward out of the 80s. But you never are at fear for the hero. The hero, they put him in some positions and you wonder how they're going to get out of it, but you never go, oh, they're in trouble.
They might die. Yeah.
Never. I never have ever thought that even John McClane was going to die. You know, I was like, no, he's not dying. And we did Lethal Weapon 2 where they wanted to kill off Riggs' character, but they decided not to. It was in the original script. And so then you go, he's not going to die. So it does become a problem when, especially, and I think that's why movies had to change. But when you start to watch movies, you go, okay, if there are no stakes as a viewer, why am I watching it? Right? Like,
good point.
Like if I'm going to go into it and everyone's going to get out of this the way we always think they're going to be, and good guys are always going to win, then why are you making the movie at all? What is your point? You know, and I think that's kind of the thing. They didn't know what to do with when the first woman is killed, or why he even kills. We don't know why he does any of these things. That's the other thing. It's like that's why they didn't know what world they were playing in, is because there's a reason he's doing these murders and why he reaches out to the guy, besides he's a good writer. So there's a story he wants to tell, but we never hear it. We never get that discussion. Even in the last fight, normally that's the monologue where the villain tells you his plans and then you kill him. The old trope from back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, when they used to do that stuff. We don't get that either. We get none of that. He's upset that he took over popularity. We get none of the reasons he's doing what he's doing. So we really don't care. Yeah.
We kind of assume at the end it's because of attention. There was one point that maybe I was just confused where they're talking about the 5 murders. So there's 5 murders, 3 women, 2 men. And I thought, oh, he's recreating those murders that happened. Was it in Chicago or Wisconsin?
Something like that. Yeah, that feels like that's where it's going to lead, but
it doesn't.
Yeah, I was
like, oh, he's recreating those. But yeah, you're right. That fell way short. There were the things I liked about it. I was like, oh, Kurt has this cool 60s era convertible Mustang. Are you a car guy?
Oh,
at all?
yeah. I mean, I have noticed, though, if you notice as you start to watch movies, we know our character's cool. They always have a muscle car.
You're right.
Doesn't matter
You're right.
Does not matter what their profession is. They could be, if they're a cool teacher, they've got some car that they've revamped from their dad. It's the standard white male American. If you're a cool guy and you're white, you are
cool
going
car.
to have a muscle car of something or a motorcycle. It's one of those two, right? It's like,
you're right.
That's how we know you're a badass. You know, it's the same thing. Like go through all of the movies, and you start going, oh yeah, that's right. He drives that. Oh yeah, okay. All right, yeah. They're all driving cool cars. No one's getting into
Cool guy checklist.
No one's getting into the minivan. You know, like hey, I gotta go pick up the kids. That doesn't happen. It's always like gotta have this cool car, and usually they're working on it at some point. The hood's always up. There's some tools out. We don't know what they're fixing, but they're always in there making wrench sounds. And we're like, okay, he's fixing. You have no idea what he's doing. He could just be changing the oil, but he's just, always a wrench sound and hand me this. And that's our standard dialogue for cool guys into the car.
You're right. I, of course, noticed a lot of what people were wearing. I always noticed that Kurt, it was those glasses that those very 80s glasses.
Yeah.
I don't even... No, is that what they were
called?
They're
kind of the aviators. So they're basically become the. This is terrible, but they seem to be the new glasses. That whether that was intentional or because they were cheaper, but serial killers and like pedophile people in movies started to wear them. Like, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer wears them.
Yes,
you know. I mean, I know they weren't intentionally made that way, but I think they were because they were the cheapest version of glasses you could get, so they were easy to have. So it just became a look. But yeah, he did have what would become. You're on a list glasses, you know, like he may touch children or kill people and put them in their basement.
Those glasses.
Yeah.
He had those. And the mid 80s jeans, on a good looking man. Oh, I loved it. It was great. Jeans on Kurt Russell.
I was thinking
hair.
you guys are I was like, you guys are in the summertime in Miami. I thought
Miami.
You're wearing a little too much clothes. Like I've been in Miami that time. Like you guys should probably have more like Joey Pants. Joey Pants was like dressed like properly.
Yes. I noticed too, they're like crawling around in the marsh Everglades area in suit. The detectives still have their suit jackets on, crawling around. What are you doing? It's July.
I know.
It takes place in, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it takes place in July in Miami.
Yeah. In hurricane season.
Yes.
Which we're in now. Yep.
Oh, God. Yeah. There's a few things like the power outage. And
yeah.
Why was there school in July?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, or maybe if it's not July, it's June, maybe. But the South gets out in May.
We do too.
So
I know
up here in the Northeast, we get out in
usually,
June. We go back in September. I know because of the heat, they get out in May and go back in August, which is still pretty freaking hot in August. But there is that bit of a switch just based on because of how much hotter it actually gets down in the South than it does out here up in the East Coast. But yeah, I don't know. The
reason I think it's July or maybe even August is because it's called the mean season, and that typically refers to late summer.
Yeah, and because it's also hurricane season down there.
Yeah. So when I was looking up, because I had never heard that term before, but I guess in Miami, it is July. I guess the mean season refers to Miami, Florida, July. A pattern of weather. Yeah, a pattern of weather that occurs in Florida.
I've lived in the summertime there. It is awful. It is so goddamn hot. Uncomfortable. So a lot of people who live up in a lot of people live up here in like a northern climate like you do. Yeah, they're tired of the snow, and I get it. You go down there in February, March, it's gorgeous. Yeah, I get it. But from May till sometimes October, it is in the hundreds, in the 90s, and it's like 95% humidity, and it is just brutal. So you go from where we're up here from hot, a warm house to a warmed up car in the winter. You go from an air conditioned house to an air conditioned car. You don't enjoy the summertime in Florida. Summertime in Florida is in our wintertime. That's the only time you enjoy the weather down there because it's so goddamn hot.
The humidity just like I was there last month for work, and I walked out of my hotel and
sweat immediately, didn't you?
I verbally said, ew.
Yes. You walked from your hotel to whatever car you're getting into, and you probably were already sweating. And you're like, I've only been outside 30 seconds, and I'm already feel like I ran a mile.
The problem is it's so cold indoors. What are you supposed to wear? Because I'm cold inside.
It's negative 60 degrees in the hotel. It's 120 outside. It's just such an extreme.
Yeah. At any rate, the mean season, it's known for the late summer months, hot mornings, sticky weather, leading to violent thunderstorms that blow in from the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico in the afternoon. However, the rain does not alleviate the heat like it would in some places. It only makes things hotter in the evening, and that cycle repeats every day for a month. That's what's called the mean season. I didn't know that.
It would come in around 2:30, between 2:30 and 4, and then because it torrential downpours, like it rains biblically, and then all of a sudden it's gone, it blows away, and then the sun comes back out. And if anyone knows anything about science, I know in Florida that you don't really, but in science, heat warms up the water, turns it into vapor, so it becomes a steam bath. So normally, like even up here, if it rains, usually it's a cold front comes in behind it, so it can drop it from 80 to about 75, 70 degrees in a 3-hour period because of the rain. So now we actually cools off. In Florida, it only made it hotter. It would just be like even worse. It's just like you went from a sauna. You took a hot shower and then went into a sauna. It's just, it's terrible. You can't even swim. The pool water using 90 degrees. It's awful. Yeah. We used to jump. I used to take my kids. We would jump into the hot tub at night to get our body temperature up to about 100 something. So when we jumped into 95-degree weather pool, it felt like a little bit of a coolness. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Terrible.
One of the other things I noticed about Joey Pants was, so he's the photographer and he's out. He, in one scene, has 5 different cameras hanging from him. Now, I am not a photographer, but that seemed odd to me. Why 5 different cameras?
This depends on when they actually started making, how easy it was to make interchangeable lenses. So for him, he may have had 5 cameras on so that at any moment he could switch through focal lengths to get a picture he needed, as opposed to carrying a bag. Again, I think if we look back in the 1980s, it may not have been as easy as it is now, where like the bags come with the quick interchangeable lenses. That may not have been a thing. Again, I was 9, so I don't know for sure. So there may be someone on here older who listens to your podcast can reach out and let you know. But that's the assumption I'm going to make. It was just quicker for him in a fast-paced world to grab one and take a picture. He knew what he was using, but he's not running anywhere, right?
No,
you're
they're
not
like
running
big
with 5 cameras
too,
smashing into your chest cavity. So
yeah.
He has made the decision to walk wherever he is going and going from.
Okay, now I need to address the elephant in my room, which is that they are planning to move from Miami to a small town in Colorado. Sounds great, right? The town they're choosing is Greeley, Colorado. I don't know if anybody
I do not know about Greeley, Colorado.
is
I'm
familiar
excited
with
to hear
it.
now.
It is definitely not a destination. There are so many places. It is, and maybe it wasn't in the 80s. So Greeley is atypical of other Colorado towns. It's not pretty. It's not near the mountains. It is slaughterhouse and meat. Or what do they bring them all in to fatten them up? What do you call that? Like these commercial feedlots.
Okay.
That's Greeley. So there's a smell, and it's not a destination anybody would go. I don't know why they didn't choose like some cute, quaint mountain town, of which there's thousands. But Greeley, I just thought that was so weird. Maybe it's just the Colorado people that will get that, understand what I'm talking about.
Well, he does it's funny you say that, but the murderer does tell him after the second killing that there's a certain smell that once you don't know what it is until you smell, but then it never leaves you. So maybe he was talking quietly about Greeley.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because it's known here for its smells because there's cow flesh. It's the smell of death and manure.
Yum. If the new job that she has taken is she is now the head.
I do support moving from Miami to some town in Colorado, just not Greeley. Okay, I'll get off of that now. I did read, though, that the production, in terms of the principal photography, was filmed in real-life Miami Herald newsroom.
Oh, wow.
It was, but they had to do it between the hours of 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. so that they could actually work. Yeah. And you mentioned Andy Garcia and Richard Bradford both being in The Untouchables.
Yes.
This is true. They were in several movies together, which I'm like, I wonder what's going on there. In addition to The Untouchables, Internal Affairs, Steal Big, Steal Little, Hoodlum, Just the Ticket, and The Lost City. Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe Jack Nicholson. Maybe those are ones he produced, and this is his best man, so he's gonna get in there.
Maybe. That could be. Anything else stand out or scenes or anything?
I think what we discussed, there's a lot of potential, but the best scene is that sudden we meet the killer and we don't realize he's the killer until afterwards. And that was a really well done scene. Really well done. Like I said, I knew that man's face looked familiar, but I bought and I hadn't seen the movie, so I bought every second that he was some scared former vet who was just, knew some information and was trying to do his, be a good Samaritan and give up the information, but also didn't want to get killed because of the killer. And then next thing we know, it is the guy. And I was like, oh my God, they even surprised me that was happening. I just thought this was like, okay, this is a cool look guy who, he looked the part, right? Like this guy looked the part of being some trailer park guy from Florida.
Like slovenly, you felt sorry for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and when he's I love the touches of him oiling just the knee brace. I was like, this. And once I realized it wasn't real, I was like, that is really well done. Like that was a tip of the hat to the filmmakers. That was a great scene. They really sold the hell out of that. But
I liked that as well, especially because I had the visceral reaction to his appearance when he played that guy. And then we see him in like a suit, like he's going to go pretend to be a substitute teacher to kidnap Mariel Hemingway's character. And he looks completely different. And I was like, oh, wow. That was, I agree. That was pretty well done.
If they could have done more of that, that's the problem with the film is that they do the fake scares. I'm never really worried about the killer. They didn't know how they wanted the killer to be. They wanted to be like this ominous character, but we never felt it because the opening kill is, and again, I'm not trying to be some kind of gorehound, but if we're supposed to be thinking that we've got a serial killer who is dangerous, this kill needs to be more than him just walking some girl out into the beach and then just shooting her. Like that just felt weird. Like even that opening, like they were so worried even then about getting the right rating for it so that it could be watched by more people that they didn't give anyone who would want to see that kind of movie a reason to go see it. And then even it just was kind of like you said, it's just like, okay, it's another one of those movies like you could see on a Netflix or something. You go, all right, and you'll forget about it. I will probably forget about this movie until something comes up, or maybe I'll see another movie in the same vein. I'll go, oh, that was what's it called? Could have been Mean Season. Could have been this way, and they really could have played a lot more in the serial killer. If that movie comes out in the 90s, it's a different movie. It's a lot darker, better film. Much better film. Because
it was trying to be too many, like everything to everyone.
Agreed.
And then it ends up appealing to no one.
To no one.
And I did.
Even the writer.
Yes. To your point about I'll forget about, I have seen this movie recently, within the last year or two, but rewatching it last night, I was like, oh, I totally forgot about this. Like, I didn't recall any of it. So it didn't have a lasting effect on me. One last question for you that I noticed. The detectives, Andy Garcia and what was the other guy? Richard Bradford, they had revolvers. And I don't know why I took note of that. Was that a thing in the 80s?
That was an old school way of cops having it. Yeah. If you look at a lot of films back then, they all carried revolvers at the time. That used to be the old standard until they've gone to now the different sidearm, more of the automatic, semi-automatic sidearm. But that is prevalent now today. But it used to be the old revolver. I mean, even Dirty Harry had of course he's Dirty Harry, but he has the giant Magnum. You're kind of like, all right, that might be a little overkill. But yeah, that was a standard. I mean, I think if you look even the Die Hard films, I think all the cops, then they all have revolvers. They all are.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about guns. But I did somehow notice that because I feel like I do like cop shows, and maybe there's just like more SVU ones, newer, and so they have a different kind of gun.
The interesting thing about that is the revolver is one of the weapons that doesn't jam. It may be loud, but doesn't jam. Where like your sidearm that now have the automatics, they tend to jam and have jammed and misfired in situations. The one thing about a revolver, you can always pretty much count on the revolver to do its job, to do its thing.
But then there's only
it's gonna hit the hammer. Yep.
But isn't there only like 5 or 6?
Yeah, you get 6 to 8 shots. Yeah, depending on what size you got. Yeah, true. But at the same time, you're at least going to get all 6 and 8 shots off.
True.
As opposed to firing a bullet and then all of a sudden it jams and now you're SOL.
You're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts about the Mean Season? Okay.
Anyone who's of age that's not Gen X or older, it's worth taking a look because it's always worth seeing how films have progressed. I don't think you can appreciate the films you watch or how they've changed unless you've seen where they've come from. You know, like you may not be a fan of black and white movies, but if you don't know where the film language started, you have no idea how it got to where it is, you know? So it's easy to go, well, this movie from 1985 doesn't look anything like the movies in 2024. Well, no shit. Like it shouldn't. Like we should have progressed in 40 years. But back then, that was probably a better film than what we got in the 40s. So, you know, but it was still using some of that same film language that, you know, the tropes, the fake out scares, the bad guy's not dead yet. We've got to have a final confrontation kind of thing. That was stuff that used to be very prevalent. So I just think it's always good to go back and watch films and see where people came from or where things come from, even if they're not good films. I think you don't get appreciation of great films without seeing everything, right? Like how do you know the bar? If you don't see even dog crap movies, how do you know where great is, you know?
That's why
some people just pick movies, they go, oh, that's the greatest movie you've ever seen. But have you seen these other movies? Like there's far better movies than what you're talking about. And you've stuck in one little lane and you don't know good and bad without seeing everything. So
I love that. Good advice, Scott. I like it. Yeah, well, I mean, the main season may not have been a hit, but I very much enjoyed watching Kurt for an hour and a half because, you know, those
good.
eyes, those cheekbones, that jawline, that hair, those jeans. I'm in it for Kurt. And I also really like Joey Pants and Andy Garcia. So it was fun.
And I think the villain was decent, right? I think the villain was very good. I think he was a good character. He didn't get enough to be, like he could have been one of those great villains in cinematic history, but they just didn't give him enough to do so. He could have been a Hannibal Lecter type, a real creep that we'd be like, Jesus, remember that guy from that movie?
He has that creepiness.
Oh, he does. You're right. I mean, he has the build for it. He has the character, the guy who played him had it. They just didn't give him enough to do to really sell it.
Agreed. Well, I guess our recommendation is watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yes. And it is now time to return to the present day reality until the next episode of RetroMade. Scott, thank you so much for hanging with me.
Thank you. I appreciate having you back on. Appreciate it.
Remind us, what should we look forward to for what's coming up in some of your new...
in October, since my main podcast is the Church of Tarantino, I have been doing Pulp Fiction the entire season, looking at many aspects of it since it's turning 30. It actually, day on Monday after we've recorded, this will probably be out a couple weeks, but on the 14th of October, it will be its actual 30th anniversary. I have a special anniversary show coming out, and then I have more episodes coming out to the end of the year. For the Men of Action, we will be doing Stallone, actually, will be coming out in November. We just had the one you talked about, but we're putting Rambo 2 up against the Expendables 2. We're taking his two big franchises and butting them up against each other to see how that's going to go. For Bruce, we'll be reaching at the end of October our 20th. We have a very special guest, Sean O'Connell, who is he works at Cinema Blend, and he's also on the Real Blend podcast, a very popular movie podcast. So he comes on. He wrote a book about Bruce, and he's done this journey. So we have a really good conversation about a movie called Cosmic Sin. Really good. And then Kill, Marry, Smash, Eat will be wrapping up the Wednesday after the election day here. But you were on episode 2. But recently for this month, I think it'll be The Matrix, Sopranos, Pulp Fiction, Beverly Hills 90210, Scream, and then we close out with Star Trek: The Next Generation will be the last of our 10 episodes.
Oh, those are good ones. The Sopranos was good.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on the Friends episode.
Yes.
I think it's such a fun concept.
It's so much fun to do. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do. So, but I appreciate you being on and also having me on as well.
Yeah, of course, anytime. And thank you all for listening or watching on YouTube. Please share the show. I know I've been gone a little while, so I could use the extra help. And, I could always use a new review. It goes a long way to help retro junkies find RetroMade. Until next time, be kind, rewind.